fire was now smoldering, and the camp was quiet. The frenzy of fashioning the golden calf had left the revelers exhausted and spent. The dancing and singing was more energetic than they had ever known before. They were transported from song and rhythm to a level of joy that only existed in their imaginations. There was so much excitement and anticipation that the children of Israel thought that they had been reborn. The slavery they had known had taken from them their dreams and their hopes. And while the escape from Egypt awakened them to new possibilities, wandering in the desert began to sap their strength. The coarseness of the desert sands grounded their hearts and souls, scraping a wound of despair. And now their lives were united. They had put their faith in Moses. What choice did they have? He had gone before Pharaoh and claimed to speak for them. "Let my people go," he declared. If they had not followed him, what would have become of them? Pharaoh was sure to have taken his anger out on those who stayed behind, so leaving, following Moses was their only option. They assumed Moses had a plan. That having been out of Egypt for some time and having returned, he knew exactly where he was going to take them. The journey might be difficult and long, but it was sure to have an end. Moses must have known where he was going, they thought. Only a crazy man would lead a group of former slaves in the desert, not knowing where to, not knowing where to go. And now, Moses had disappeared. After having wandered longer than they imagined, they were camped at the base of the mountain, and Moses was nowhere to be found. He claimed that he would return, but there was no reason to believe him. The children of Israel barely knew Moses. It was rumored that he was a child of slaves and reared in Pharaoh's court. Perhaps this was true, or perhaps this was some elaborate scheme by Moses to seize power and to return to Egypt, a wealthy prince. The children of Israel didn't know. All they knew was Moses was gone, and they were frightened. They wanted, no, they needed someone to lead them. They understood that if they were going to survive, one among them was going to have to rise up and stand before them. In their despair, in their moment of fear, their eyes turned to Aaron. The children of Israel pleaded with him, begging him to take on the mantle of leadership. But Aaron was reluctant and didn't want to assume this role. While in Egypt, Aaron was known to be a thoughtful man. Perhaps one could even call him wise. At times, when tensions between taskmasters and slaves reached a fever pitch, Aaron could diffuse the situation. He had a way with words. So now, Aaron sat alone before the smoldering fire, with the golden calf beside him. All he would need to do tomorrow was stand by the calf and praise his power, and knew the children of Israel would be moved and uplifted. For the children of Israel wanted him to craft the golden calf. For them it was a symbol of hope. For them it was a symbol of something greater would watch over them and protect them, even lead them to a better place. But Aaron knew better. He knew that all he had done was to fashion gold from one shape into another. The golden calf couldn't lead, nor could it protect. But the children of Israel believed, and rather than standing before the children of Israel and saying, no, Aaron was simply going to stand up and say, yes. It was easier. Simple. It required nothing of him. He'd simply do what the people wanted, even though he knew what they wanted was of no value. Aaron had done it before. Rather than doing what was right, Aaron would do what was easy. He wasn't proud of this. He always imagined that one day, when things were different, he was going to become the man that he wanted to be. A different man. He would stand up for what was right, even when it wasn't easy. A person who would speak the truth, even when those listening did not want to hear it. And he would lead. Not to where they wanted to go, but rather where they needed to go. Aaron just kept looking at the path, knowing what he had done. All he'd have to do now was to push it into the fire. and destroy what he created. And in the morning, when the children of Israel gathered around, he would tell them the golden calf was no more, and the future was uncertain. Then he would lead them where they needed to go. But he couldn't do it. As much as he tried to cast the golden calf back into the fire, he was scared. Scared to become the man he wanted to be. So Aaron polished the calf one more time, and he returned.